product. And today I'm very lucky to be joined by 3 of our wonderful customers. So the purpose of today is for you to hear from some first-hand Twilio users about how they went about solving a particular problem for their business and how Twilio was able to help them solve that problem. Key part of this session is also the Q&A that we're going to be doing at the end. So please be thinking of questions, hold on to those questions, and we're going to bring up all of our customers back on stage so that you guys can have the opportunity to chat with them. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to Jerome, who is from ING, and he's going to be talking about the next gen call center they were able to roll out on Twilio.
Thank you. Yeah, the presentation is on. Hi, my name is Jeroen, as you pronounce it in Dutch. I am based in the Netherlands, working for ING as platform architect. And I'm going to tell you a bit about the journey we went through implementing Tullio for ING. This may be a picture that is familiar with you. It's a lithograph from MC Escher. And Escher was very well known for making impossible constructions possible. And Escher was born in a small city in the Netherlands, in Leeuwarden, and that is also the city where the contact center of ING is based. And there we also did something that a lot of people thought was impossible. We are running the contact center of a bank with Twilio. This was our starting point, 12 contact center islands, 12 retail countries of ING. And they all look a bit the same, they're all contact centers, but under the surface they're all different. They all have different technologies. One has Avaya, one has Genesis, one has interactive intelligence. And if you look, for example, at the technology used in the Netherlands, that was not just Avaya for telephony, it was a whole series of technologies for all kinds of things we needed. And this is just one of the countries. So you can imagine that with 12 retail countries, it's quite, it's all kinds of things we have. So the purpose that we started with about 2 years ago is to create one global contact center solution for all ING countries. And not only one shared platform, also an omnichannel platform. And not to have all kinds of technologies for the different channels. And the choice was made to do that with Twilio. So why did we select Twilio? We very much liked the pay-as-you-go model. We were used to having big contracts up front with licenses, etc. Pay-as-you-go fits much better with what we want to do. There's a very good architecture fit. We have development teams, they like to work with APIs, with SDKs, so had the approach of Twilio fit in very well there. And the customer journeys that we can create with Twilio. That is really what we missed in other products. Other products are closed ecosystems. And with Twilio, we're able to integrate it. So for example, integrate chat in our mobile app or integrate things in our CRM portal. Just to give an idea of what we do in the contact center, it's really a full-blown contact center that we create with Twilio. So it's all channels, have video, chat, call. It's also an omnichannel toolbar that we created ourselves and integrated in the CRM applications of ING. We do the routing, for that we use Twilio Task Router. Call flows, the IVR flows, I'm going to tell a bit more about it later. But also utilities, we call it, like recording, a dialer. We created our own real-time dashboards. So it's the whole contact center support that we do with Twilio and on top ING software. To give an idea of how we created it, we started with the building blocks of Twilio. So those are in the cloud, but as a bank we cannot do everything in the cloud. So on top of the Twilio products, we created our own platform within the ING boundaries in an ING data center. That is a shared platform. It's shared by all the ING countries. And just as with Twilio, every country has their account on our own ING platform. So they configure their contact center on our platform. To give an idea of where we are right now, as I said, we started around 2 years ago. We started with the biggest country in numbers, which is the Netherlands. We have now 10 million live calls per year on the Twilio platform. and we're doing 8 million self-service contacts. And the self-service are IVR contacts, for example, customers inquiring their balance. We're currently migrating other countries as well to the platform. We're currently migrating the Czech Republic and Belgium. The coming year, 1.5 years, we will do migrations of all other countries. So we expect to go to around 40 million live contacts, but on top of that, we also see new developments, like chatbots are coming up, and we're going to do chatbot support as well. We're also going to do email and task routing with Twilio. And there's also parts of ING that have joined us. ING is expanding in Asia, so we're going to support them as well. And Wholesale Bank also wants to use the contact center platform. In the rest of this session, I wanted to share some learnings, looking back at the last 2 years, what we learned from the implementation. First is the Workstation Setup. This is something that at ING we underestimated a bit. We rolled out in small steps, but when we started doing bigger rollouts, we faced bad audio, fake audio quality issues. Things that we investigated it, and things that we saw was that, for example, echo cancellation, that was done both on the Jabra headset that we use and in the Chrome browser, and there can only be one doing it. Another thing was the wireless headset interference. With a lot of, we're using wireless headsets. They have a certain range, but with too many agents on a square meter, they start interfering. And another one was wired Wi-Fi switching. We need to be wired. The Wi-Fi is, there are too many agents in the building to do that on the Wi-Fi. So we thought we were wired, but some settings on the workstation sometimes switched to Wi-Fi. Our conclusion from this, this is just some examples, is that we needed more control over the workstation setup. On one hand, the standard ING setup, there were some errors in there. On the other hand, users were also making all kinds of adaptations to the setup. How we did it was with software packages and a Chrome extension. So we created those, and those are now standard rolled out to all the agents in the contact center. And another measure is that in the toolbar that we created, we also have a screen where agents can check their audio setup. So they can see, am I connected in the right way? Is my Jabra headset connected? So this way we control it more, and we have a good environment for the contact center. Second learning is about configuring call flows. The call flows are, those are like the automated voice dialogues that we do via the IVR. And these need to be highly configurable per ING country, because the flows are basically representing the business rules of each contact center. This is a big part of configuration in each country. What we saw here was, we had a couple of issues creating a good call flow solution. On one hand, it needs to be highly configurable. We also want to do API calls that need to be configured, so you need technical skills to create those call flows. On the other hand, there's also business that want to do fast changes, like for example, if there is a situation in the contact center, they want to bring in an announcement right away, like, hey, it's busy now, we can call you back, those kind of things. So we need instant content management. Now we have been looking at a visual editor for this. As you can see in the picture, a visual thing is a good representation of a call flow. But then, we just didn't have the time to do that within the timelines of our project. So we looked at what other options are there. The call flow engine that we created, that consumes JSON, but then configuring JSON is very, it's very cumbersome. So we created a DSL on top of the JSON, and from the DSL we can generate the JSON. It's more intuitive, less error prone, and we can run it through the standard deployment process of ING. It's now not coming up, the next slide. No. What we did on top of it for the business needs is have an announcement node in our call flows. basically a placeholder and give the business a nice front end with which they can create and activate announcements. Something about the resilience. Our regular way of doing resilience is, if a component is down, we go around it. Telephony is very important, so we also need to have measures for like the big errors. Like for example, internet connection is fully out for ING. For the telephony we're safe because we're using a leased line with Twilio interconnect there. But for the data connection, we are using the same infrastructure in ING that is used for web and mobile apps. So imagine that is down, then people cannot use our web anymore, they cannot use the mobile application anymore, and when they try to call us, it doesn't work either. For this, we came up with some measures. Normally, when a call comes in, Twilio directs them to our call flow API. But if our call flow API isn't available, for that we created a function. And in that function is a very simple menu so that we can do coarse-grained routing to the right agent. Another measure that we took is fullback telephony. It's the toolbar. This is at the toolbar. This is really for big incidents, so it's not automatically switched on, but it's like a safe mode version of the toolbar. With this, if there is like a full internet connection not working, employees can use this version of the toolbar. They go to our API just to collect a fallback token, and that's it. And the toolbar will set up voice connections with Programmable Voice using the leased line. And what it does, it sets up a call. It doesn't actually call a number, but it calls, again, a Twilio function. And what we do in the Twilio function, we go available, we see if there are reservations, and if so, they are directed to the toolbar. So that way, we have minimal functionality. We can still answer calls. We don't have things like recording or transfers, but for emergency situations, this one works. And currently, Twilio is working on interconnect for all connections, also the data. So when this is ready at the end of this quarter, then we can move everything to our leased line, and we're less vulnerable for internet outages. Last learning is about the floor support, hence this t-shirt. What we really learned is that it's good to have floor support when we rolled out at the contact center. On one hand, it's to collect information, and we can react very fast when things are not good. It's also a good experience for the agents. They see that they can see the people who are working on it, and they also know that they can that we can fix things very fast. Then, to finalize, we have Twilio running now. We can now create more and more stories that we couldn't have thought about before. So with Tullio, we really can go beyond imagination. With that, I want to hand over to the next one.
Okay, so welcome. My name is William. I'm a product owner at Momentum Travel. I was supposed to be presenting with Eric. Unfortunately, he couldn't make it for personal reasons, so I'll be stepping in for the both of us today. So let's get started. So I will start by just giving you a little bit of background of who Momentum Travel is. So essentially, we're an online travel agency. We sell flights online. We operate under two major brands, justfly.com and flytup.com. We're based in Montreal. We have relationships with over 400 airlines around the world, but our main focus is the North American market for the moment. As we are currently ranked number 4 in the US with our Just Fly brand, and second in Canada with our Flight Up brand. So what brought us here today? Well, essentially, we launched Momentum Travel around 6 years ago. And it took about 2 years to really pierce the market. So after that, we grew at an accelerated rate over the course of 4 years. And that led us to have to migrate our call center that we had initially at our head office to an outsourced call center in the Philippines, and to leverage their existing phone systems and infrastructures. As a result, our quality of service as well as our efficiency simply didn't meet the market requirements. So we had to find a solution to fix that problem. So essentially, we had slow to no improvement on resolution rate, also on average handle time and net promoter score. We had insufficient data and control mechanisms. So essentially, since everything was outsourced, we did not have access to all the data, everything that was happening in our call center, the customer journey, how many times they call, etc. It was just simple reporting that we had from our BPO. Also, because of our industry-specific challenge on training, the traveling agency is not an easy industry to learn for agents, for all the different requests that our customer can call about. So there's a lot of training involved in training our agents to service our customers. And finally, scalability wasn't straightforward. So because we were in one place, it was difficult for us to be able to think of moving to another location or open multiple call centers, etc., etc. So this is when we finally realized that the solution that we needed to focus on was the technology. We needed to take control over the technology. So this is where I guess Tullio came in. But before we started using Tullio, after we started looking into improving our technology, at the beginning of last year, we purchased an off-the-shelf turnkey CRM solution that was supposed to do everything for us. Unfortunately, after many months, we were not able to accomplish what we were trying to accomplish. So we decided to just go with another solution around fall last year. Again, because of limitations, they were offering us a IVR solution, a dialer, and we were building our custom CRM, and we were supposed to integrate it and just have this solution working, but the integration wasn't seamless, and again, we were not getting the result that we were expecting. So finally, earlier this year, this is when we started working with Twilio. So Twilio ultimately is the perfect match for us, since we're at our core a development company. We have developers in our company that are building everything that we use. So we decided to go with Twilio because of just all the different APIs and building blocks that they could provide to us that would enable us to simply use these blocks and build our whole solution from scratch. So rapidly, in just a matter of around 3 months, we were able to launch our first minimum viable product in April to just a few handful of agents. And then quickly in June, we were able to release our first version of the application to over 200 agents. And finally, around the month of August, to over 500 agents and counting. So how does that work? How does everything work for us? So we called our product SurfPro. So SurfPro essentially is our, let's compare it, let's say, to Twilio Flex. We built our own Twilio Flex in a way before Twilio Flex existed. So we use Programmable Voice, Studio for our IVR. We use Task Router for the routing of all our calls. And we started recently to use Assistant from Understand to be able to eventually offer AI in our different services. So our agents, they have now this software called SurfPro that they use, where they have this dialer on the screen where they're able to answer the calls and then interact with the customer, have the information come up, and they can just really quickly service the customers. So with everything that's happening during the time that they're helping the customer, we capture a lot of data that is dumped onto AWS, where we store everything for eventually we'll be able to do some machine learning on it, as well as Whitica, another now service part of Twilio that we use for reporting purposes that helped us out of the box be able to quickly have an overview of everything that's happening in our call center historically, so that we can take some business decisions on that. This is one example of something that we were able to build with the different Twilio APIs. So this is our real-time dashboard that we use to identify how many calls we have waiting in our queues, how many agents are currently working for which specific queues, how it's been going in terms of the abandonment rate for the past hour or during the whole day. So this really helps us in real time take decisions and act on if something's happening right or wrong in some cases. We were able to use the task router API as well as sync to, I guess, leverage the WebSocket service that Twilio offers to be able to really make this dashboard live. This is some views, some examples of what our dialer looks like for our agents. So essentially, after many months of iterations, these are different interfaces that our agents use. So they're able to pause the recording, start a recording, put the customer on hold, create conference calls, transfer to another department, add a participant to the call, use an address book. So we really took advantage of all the different functionalities that Twilio had to offer and put them all together in one, I guess, well-built and very well-taught dialer by our UX and UI team. So this is the typical interface that you see, that an agent see when he's using SurfPro. So he'll have the dialer in the bottom right corner of the screen, where he'll be able to have the normally the phone number of the customer for which brand he's calling, and then all the different functionalities that they need if they need to transfer, etc. And in the middle, you have the information about the itinerary, the passenger's information, and also access to all the different functionalities that they need to be able to service the inquiry of the customer. What was the outcome of this? So it's too early to confirm the impact on resolution rate and NPS, but we were able to observe 17% reduction in average handle time in just a few months of using this new platform. It freed time for upskilling and training, so now we're able to focus on quality of service. So we're able to actually free up some time in the agent schedule to give more training so that they give a better service overall. And we were able to increase the level of analytics. So because now we control everything, we have access to putting everything in our data warehouse and analyzing everything with machine learning and AI. And finally, now we're fully scalable. We're virtually able to deploy anywhere in the world if that's what we want to do. So what's next for us? So first of all, we were you could only contact us by phone. Now we'll be able to integrate omnichannel, so we'll be able to have SMS, chat, etc. Also, we'll be able to use different AI capabilities for quality assurance, suggesting in real-time solutions to our agents while they're on the phone, as well as apply AI to our business flows and volumes for forecasting for our workforce management. Thank you. I'll pass the mic. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. All right, cool. My name is Eugene. I'm with a company called Centerfield. It's my pleasure to be here today. I'm grateful to Tullio for inviting me and being able to share our partnership experience. This is the most you'll see me dress up. I really apologize for not wearing a t-shirt. It's a development conference. So with that, we'll jump right in. So what I want to cover today is who's Centerfield, what we do as a company, what our technology stack is, why we picked Twilio, what exactly have we built. Spoiler alert, we built Flex, basically, and how it works at a high level and our plans in the future. So who we are, we're only 7 years old. We are an AI-powered end-to-end sales and marketing services company that offers services to Fortune 500 companies in telecommunications and media and business services. Basically, we work with most, if not all, of home services companies in the United States, like Comcast, AT&T, Verizon, and so on and so forth. We've been named best places to work for in LA 5 years in a row, which is pretty incredible, thinking that the company is only 7 years old. So what happened was, first 2 years we were named in the small business category, and then as the business grew, we went from small business to medium-sized business to large-sized business category, and we've been able to maintain that for 5 years in a row, which is pretty crazy. And then in addition to that, we've been named for 4 years in a row 5,000 fastest growing companies in America. We experienced about 260% growth in the last 3 years, which is also really interesting to note, especially in correlation with being consistently best places to work for, which means that we've been trying really hard to maintain our culture as we grew the business at that high rate. So shameless plug, we're hiring. So if you know anyone in LA, then please point them our way. We're growing and we want more people in our organization. Our mission is to build best-in-class end-to-end marketing and sales solution for world-leading brands. Everything, what you see there is one of the walls in the office, and this is 9 traits of what makes someone a good center fielder. Everything is sort of like a baseball theme with us. Our technology platform is called Dugout, and this is a fully integrated solution that allows us to connect online and offline and to be able to then drive conversions and run experiments and do all kinds of cool stuff as it relates to delivering value to the customers on one end and to the providers that we work with on the other end. These are locations. We have about 1,500 people around the world. We have locations in Los Angeles and Playa Vista, and then in Boston, in New York, in Florida, Jamaica, 2 locations in Jamaica actually, Belize, Salvador, South America, and India. So what is it that we do? So there's a person in front of their computer who is a potential customer. And they go to, let's say, Google, and they search for home security services or home security systems. And then what they'll see is a Google ad that says something like, hey, click here to learn more about security services. And then they click and they land onto one of our landing pages. And then they read some content about home security systems, and then they're ready to make a purchase, at which point we submit a lead to our clients. That's funnel number 1. Funnel number 2 is same person, same Bob, now wants to look for cable services in his area. So does a search, finds an ad, looks at the ad, says, all right, cool, I'm ready to buy. So from that point on, clicks, reads a little more, makes a phone call, ends in the Centerfield sales center, and then we close the sale and we get paid commission from the providers that we have deals with. So what's our technology stack? That's our technology stack. And boom, cheesy animation, we have Twilio in the middle. So we are a very sort of democratic environment in terms of what we want to use as our technology foundation. Obviously, it's not a free-for-all, so we make sure that when people on the teams choose a technology, it's for the right reason. It's not because it's hipster or it's cool, it's because it serves some sort of a purpose. we do allow folks on tech teams to kind of be creative and do what they want within the confines of sort of the mantra of doing right by the business and serving the specific business case that they're trying to solve, right? As you can see, we're in Amazon for the most part, so there's a lot of Amazon icons that I forgot what they're like or what they are, but I can call it out. We use Lambdas, we use S3, Glacier, Redshift is our data warehouse solution. We use RDS, Elastic Cache extensively. Obviously, EC2 instances, load balancers. I'm sure I'm missing something. And then all the stuff you see on there, like Redis, Mongo, Chef, Jenkins, Druid, Storm, Node, PHP, WordPress, so on and so forth. Cool. So why Twilio? Because everything is better with an API. I don't want to keep kicking the dead horse here, but you heard Twilio CEO basically talking about APIs and API economy and how it makes the access to systems more sort of democratization of access and so on and so forth. So that was one of the main drivers why we decided to go with Twilio as our solution. We were on a vendor-based solution before, and so that was definitely an improvement from that standpoint because we went from a black box to sort of like a completely open system where we can pull pretty much any data we want and we need. Also, we're the kind of company that kind of tilts towards build a little bit, so that was also kind of a selling point to be able to assemble from building blocks similar to what Amazon offers in terms of their products and services. We also really appreciate flexibility, and the flexibility came in many different ways, ranging from how we ran the relationship to just ability to do certain things within the sort of confines of the Twilio systems and Twilio services. And then last but not least, what we really value when we want to partner up with the company is a cultural fit. And we felt really strongly that we were really aligned on the cultural fit based on just the culture of the companies, based on the DNA that Tullio has and we have around striving to continuously improve, around being very innovative in their products and services, and just felt like a natural fit. So this is Centerfield Flex. We launched earlier this year. We built a contact center solution on top of Twilio APIs, on top of voice and task router. We service about 1 billion voice minutes in a year on top of this platform. It runs on AWS. It's fully integrated into the platform that I mentioned earlier called Dugout. Why that's important is because when you saw earlier, you saw the funnel, the two funnels, right? And so what we're able to do is basically control all the data points that go through the funnel and then sort of gather them all together in our tech ecosystem and be able to make data-driven decisions. I didn't really focus on it, but when I was showing you the wall with the Centerfield values, there's one there that talks about keeping track of your stats, and we're a very data-driven company. We measure pretty much everything, and we have A/B testing capabilities on a lot of different things in our platform. I'll give you a couple of examples. We run a couple experiments a day in our platform, ranging from being able to show different versions of landing pages to being able to sort agents and marry them to phone calls differently based on the machine learning model that we produced. So it's really cool, and if we had something sort of off the shelf, this is unlikely that we'd be able to sort of implement this level of being data-driven and sort of KPI-driven. Basic features, I mean, there's agent management. We manage skills. We built our own IVR studio. We integrated with our data warehouse for extensive reporting. We're on Tableau, on top of Redshift, so all that data streams into a data warehouse and then ends up being in Tableau, in Redshift, and then Tableau points to Redshift. So that's in a nutshell the solution we built. From the sort of the architecture, high-level architecture standpoint, it looks like this. There's a phone call coming in, goes to Twilio Voice. Then there's a service that we build that we call Decision Engine, which basically serves all the IVR routes. And then it connects with our service that we call Task Router, which talks to Twilio Task Router. And then based on that, it pops the phone call into an agent console where our agents pick up the phone and talk to our customers. And then all that data streams to the reporting service and then goes into our Dugout platform. And then Centerfield team analyzes it until cogs come home. So that's the architecture at a high level. I'd be happy to jump into any details if you guys want me to. And then what's in the future? Predictably, it's NLP and multichannel. So we're really excited about autopilot. That's something that we're definitely going to get our feet wet pretty soon. We have been exploring multi-channel and omni-channel, so this is probably something we'll try to build some quick POCs around as well, and see where it takes us. I think there's a lot of interesting things in the future, sort of related to how call centers kind of becoming contact centers. So we're really excited about that journey, and we're really happy for the partnership with Centerfield, and that we'll continue to grow that partnership and expand on the services we use. So. That's all I had. Thank you.
You can stay up here. I'll invite you to back up. Thanks so much. And if I could ask all the presenters to come up on stage, just as a recap for names, we've got Jerome from ING on the end, Will at Momentum Travel, and Eugene with Centerfield. Just one more big round of applause for our customers. Thank you so much. So with that, we do want to open it up to questions. I'm a PMM, but also a mic runner. So just raise your hand, flag me down if you have a question, and I'll bring the mic over to you. Don't be shy.
Thanks. I was curious for ING, when you guys were looking at all the different countries you're in and their unique needs, and then centralizing that to one platform, could you share with us sort of some of the broader stroke differences between the regionalities and what they're looking for in their systems?
Yeah, so actually the regionality things we need to take care of is like languages, language support. That comes, for example, in place with voice recognition. So there we're also in contact with Tullio about the languages that they support. For example, Dutch. It's not for an American company. It's usually not on top of the radar to support Dutch. But for us, Twilio had put it on top of their priority list so that we could do the speech recognition with Dutch. And the same is now happening, for example, for Czech or Polish. Those are other countries that we're going to roll out to this year and next year. So that's one of the regionality things. Another thing is time zones we have to take into account. For example, in our dashboards, they're now based on the Netherlands time, but for other countries there will be other other time zones, so that we need to take into account. But those are things we can do on the ING part of our solution. So that's the good thing of using APIs in combination with our own software. These kind of things we can quite well manage in our own software. Does that answer the question? Yeah.
Next question is going to be over here.
Yeah. Do you guys do any speech analytics in real time that augment the agent's experience, or the supervisor is able to see what speech transcription in real time? Anything in that vein?
We're looking into it. We don't do it at this time.
Same here.
Yeah, and same here. It's something we want to add to the platform later on, but it was not our top priority.
Hi, I'm curious, given what you guys have built, what you think about Flex and whether that's something you'd implement over time.
You guys want to take it? Or I can start. I think Flex is a great product. If it existed a year ago, we would probably strongly consider it. I think the good thing about Flex is, I think someone said it in the keynote, that it's kind of a hybrid, right? It's not like a total black box where you just get something off the shelf and it's pretty rigid. So we would probably strongly consider it, and then really looked under the hood to see if it could support, I guess, the capabilities that we're looking for in terms of being able to run multivariate testing and being able to tap into different data points. But I think it's a great product. I've seen a couple of demos. Looks pretty good. So that's my opinion. In terms of adopting Flex by our company or any company, I think that, it just has to be considered as part of like the top, I guess, 30,000-foot view of what the company wants, whether they want more sort of control, what I call control of your own destiny, and whether you want that to be part of your intellectual property or not, and is a company culture is more sort of tilting build versus buy, and then kind of go from there.
Maybe from the ING side, when we started, Flex wasn't there yet. We looked at it later on when it came available. But for us, it hasn't been an option. But I think that could be an ING-specific situation, because we have like a common front-end framework for whole ING that we use for both our web applications, but also for internal applications. So for us, it was more convenient to stick with that ING platform and create the toolbar within that. And because it is a whole framework within ING, we also have quite good speed of development. So that's for us a reason to for now stick with the own toolbar that we created.
And I guess finally, in our case, same thing. Maybe if it was there before, we would have considered it. Came out a couple of months after we started our development. It's definitely a great platform, like you mentioned, great product. But again, I think it comes down to your business, what's more important to you, like in terms of how you want to be able to customize your platform. That's something that we, like you saw in our milestones, we had really bad experiences with going with platforms that were not customizable. So we really wanted to have full control. That's what enabled us to do with just going with all the single products of Twilio and not going with the full platform of Flex. But if you're looking to start, and I think it's a great platform.
And we've got time for one more question here. Any last takers? Final words? Great. Go back here.
You kind of touched on this at ING, but I'm interested to hear what kind of troubles that you had rolling it out to all your different agents, and whether or not you're using, were you doing client calls to those agents? Were you using the JavaScript SDKs? And kind of what challenges did you face in the real world rolling those things out in real world environment, in your call centers? And how did you mitigate them and things like that?
I'm not sure if I can give a short answer to that. No, but I think maybe one of the learnings not mentioned in the presentation, but one of the things that I think we really did well is that we did a real good phased rollout. And so we didn't do a full-blown rollout to big departments. Actually, we started with a rollout to the HR department, which is not actually handling customer calls like in ING customers, but the ING employees are the customers. And that way we could go live without exposing to real customers, but getting familiar with how the platform works, and also with the possible bugs that were in there. So I think that's really something that I would recommend. Try to find an approach where you don't do a big bang, but where you really do small steps. And with every step we found out new things, but that's part of the process. And it's also you need to have the team in place that can really quickly fix it, and also take the time to fix it, and not schedule like next development right after it, but schedule some time to make the fixes.
Great. And I think with that, we're out of time. So one more round of applause. Thank you all so much for coming today. And to the audience, hope you have a great rest of your signal.